fans that we can target. However, it's trying to get that message to reach other people that wouldn't necessarily class themselves as a country fan, but who then still might be interested in coming to the festival for a weekend. And we've got a huge catchment area local to the site, and it's really important for us to make it a local festival as well. So, I mean, we did local online newspapers, we put flyers out, we myself and my mum went round Writtle, which is the local village, and we shoved leaflets through doors for hours. And Facebook advertising was absolutely the best for us, without a shadow of a doubt. Obviously, we've advertised on Chris Country Radio, and they're one of our partners, and they were absolutely brilliant and really supportive, and are great to work with. So that was, they would reach the country audience, and you can be quite specific on Facebook about who you're targeting. So country wise, that's we kind of got that covered, but it was just trying to get it out to other people. So we did try some other radio stations. We tried some the local Heart station, I think, and Magic, which might have had a slight impact, but you have to weigh up whether financially it's worth, because it's quite an expensive media. You have to weigh up whether it's actually worth the sales that you've made, and it's difficult to be specific about whether that had the impact, or whether something else that you've done at the same time actually had that impact. Because whereas on digital marketing or Facebook or whatever, you can be very clear about your analytics, where has that person come from? You can follow their customer journey, whereas you can't do that so much with a print advert or a radio advert. So we tried everything. Basically had some huge banners up on the side of all the roads in Essex. So something will work.
Do you think you pulled a more non-country audience, or do you have any?
Yeah, we did. I mean, we definitely, I think obviously country fans formed the majority of the audience, as you would expect. But actually we did, looking at our customer demographics and data, we did have a large proportion of our audience was local, which is brilliant. And that's what we want to grow. It was far more local than I'd expected, actually.
Did you manage to see much of the festival at all?
No. Not a lot.
Was there a moment where you could take anything in, or?
I think probably the most poignant moment for me, I hope I don't cry when I say this, is it was on the Friday evening when the gates opened. People had been kind of arriving earlier than we'd expected, trying to get into the campsite as well. And my nana had actually passed away 3 weeks before the festival. So it had all been a bit of an emotional roller coaster, obviously, with the stress of putting the festival on, saying goodbye to Nana. Her funeral was a couple of days after the festival. Poor Dad was trying to get so he's the main farmer down there. So he was trying to get the farm ready for the funeral, and obviously help us as much as he possibly can, also whilst mourning the fact that his mother's just died. So it was all quite emotionally charged. And when the gates opened on the Friday evening, and I stood there with him and burst into tears, and I think he had a bit of a lump in his throat as well. So I think that was probably the most poignant moment for me. And then when Lauren was on stage singing Road Less Travelled, I cried. I generally cry quite a lot. And then on the Sunday morning, when I seem to spend quite a lot of time, as I say, in the dustbin, trying to squash down all the pizza boxes and stuff, and having fantastic conversations with all these people that were walking past, as if it's like the most natural thing in the world that I'm standing in a dustbin talking to them, which is quite bizarre. But no, it was all very surreal, but fairly amazing.
Oh, perfect. Moving forward then, this year, due to COVID-19, the festival has been cancelled or postponed.
Postponed,
whatever wording people want to use.
Yeah.
So you must have been absolutely gutted. At what point did you realise it wasn't going to go ahead this year?
I think realistically, we knew probably fairly early on in our own minds and our own hearts. But you just we kept hanging on and thinking, but maybe by July we'll be allowed out and it'll all be fine. But then it got to the point that actually we could have held on for another month or a couple of months or what have you. But actually that it's a really key time for our ticket sales.
Yeah.
So not only were we going to have to shell out a load more money on artist deposits and infrastructure payments and things like that, but nobody was going to buy any tickets during I haven't bought any tickets for anything during this time, because you just don't know that it's going to be able to go ahead. And obviously that is key for for any festival. And I think if we'd gone and sold 5,000 tickets already, then you think, oh, actually, we can just hold off a bit longer and see if we're going to be able to do it because we've got the tickets in the bank. However, when you are dependent on, those full 7 months, 6-7 months or whatever of ticket sales, there has to come a point that you think, actually, we can't do this. And you had to make a call, which was fairly devastating. But, these things happen.
This time round, now you've got a festival under your belt, did you find more acts and agents were approaching you? Or
so we had, I think, probably about 120 artist applications, and they would be from the sort of less exposed, smaller artists. And then obviously I had in my mind who I wanted for the slightly bigger slots. So everyone was keen to come. I think, last year we had lots of artist applications as well. And I don't think there was anyone last year that we tried to get who wouldn't do it because it was a first year festival or anything like that. So I think luckily, it did go successfully last year. And so people are more aware of us now and have said, that's great. Yeah, we'd love to come there. And it's a lot easier to sell something when you've done it once. Because you can, we've got pictures and we can envisage what it's going to be like. Because actually, exactly, it happened. Because it's very hard to, for example, get lots of vendors to come in a peak weekend in the middle of summer where, a lot of their income would depend on that weekend.
Yeah.
And you go, come down. Well, they've got to take it on trust that we are going to deliver what we say we're going to deliver. So, whereas they could go to somewhere that they've been going for the last 5 years and know that they're going to probably earn X amount of money, or they could take a gamble and go to a new event, which might or might not be a success. So, I think it's definitely a lot easier to speak to people and to get them to want to come along. And artist wise, I think it's more widely known about this year.
Well, people talk as well, don't they? Which is invaluable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you have any changes or improvements that you were bringing into place, or anything that you can reveal for the next event? Or
there's always, and I think no matter how many events you do, there's always going to be things that you would tweak for the following year. So things like signage on the way into the site, it looked fine on the plan, but actually in reality it didn't work so well. So things like that, the toilets, again, they looked okay where we'd located them, but it didn't work so well, so we need to sort of tweak where they are and have possibly more down by the entrance and less up by the bars. And in an ideal world, we'll have another bar and another set of toilets over kind of to the right of the stage as you're looking at it, and things like that. But that's all stuff that comes with time. And things like sinks in the in the campsite. Well, we're going to have sinks next year, because it just didn't really occur to me that for teeth cleaning and things like that. Yeah. So although we have water points, it's not the same. So, there's lots of little things like that and little tweaky amendments. However, we don't want to fix what isn't broken. So on the whole, the basis of it will remain the same.
Have you already started the prep for next year? I guess it's slightly more unusual, the situation at the moment, isn't it? You're kind of moving rather than...
Well, I think because we'd kind of got such a way down the line for this year, and it is basically a postponed festival, so we have moved as much of it from this year over to next year as we can. So not all of the artists have signed up for next year yet, but a good proportion of them have, and the others hopefully will do so. It's just they can't commit yet because they don't know what their touring details are and things like that, schedules. So it essentially is just picked up from this year and gone to next year. So it is we kind of find ourselves further down the line than we would normally be at this stage.
Yeah. Well, that's a positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So last question. Are you, obviously it's not happening this year, are you planning anything virtually to fill sort of a Dixie Fields size hold online, or?
Yeah, so we will be doing an online virtual festival on the 11th of July with several of the artists who are on the lineup and some previous artists as well. So we would love everybody to come to that, and people that are keeping their tickets with us and sticking through till next year will get that obviously free of charge. So we're going to do that. We've got various things sort of where we're working with partners coming up. So we've got some special offers and kind of behind the scenes things that we're going to be working with over the next few months. And all being well, in the autumn, if there's a possibility that we can do something smaller, it won't be the festival. We won't pretend it's the festival, but if we are able to put an event on, then we absolutely will. But it's just not anything that we can plan for or decide about at the moment, obviously, because we just need to see what happens. So there's plenty to keep us busy.
Good. And anyone that wants to find out details about the virtual event, that'll all be on your social and on your website as well, will it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're just waiting for a few more people to confirm one way or the other, and then we'll start to release details of that. And we've got a fantastic platform to do that, whereby the artists can actually hear the audience as well, and kind of see little thumbnails, and if your friend is on there and you're not with them, then you can have a little private chat with your friend. So it's a fantastic platform. So I'm really excited about using that. We've got lots of stuff planned. It's just very difficult to actually get anything going at this moment in time.
But plenty to keep you busy.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Georgie, thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for...
No, you're very welcome. You're very welcome.
That went on longer than I expected. That's fine.
No, I talk a lot, Kevin. I'm sorry.
It's fine. I'm sure there's somewhere.
Feel free to chop whatever you need.
I will. Right, I'll let you get on. I think I'm gonna release it bank holiday weekend.
Okay.
So
that's
yeah. I should know that. That's my wedding anniversary.
Okay, you should know that.
Mainly because, and I've not said this, I've got a band that I said I'll interview, but I don't think it's going to be that interesting. When you have to I'm basically appeasing a PR that I want to work with that's got better people. So I want something more interesting to release that weekend, to be honest. But I've not.
Well, I'm flattered.
I've not said that.
No. Who's the band?
I've had it. It's, they're called the Remedy Band.
Okay, never heard of them.
Yeah, but the guy's got bigger people, so I'm thinking I'm going to handshake it. You know, you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours.
Absolutely.
Or that might